Have you ever stood in the kitchen, slicing up some fruit for your breakfast, thinking, this has to be healthy, right? Maybe it's something you've eaten for years. Maybe it's even something your doctor once said was good for your heart. But what if I told you, just one type of fruit, one that many seniors eat almost daily, could quietly raise you? Hi there. If you're over 60, this message is especially for you. I'm a brain doctor, and let me tell you, I've seen too many folks suffer strokes that could have been prevented. And more often than not, the danger isn't something dramatic or obvious. It's the little things, the daily habits, the hidden sugars, and yes, sometimes even the healthy choices we've trusted for decades. Now don't worry, I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to empower you. Because once you understand what's really going on inside your body, you'll have the tools to protect yourself and stay sharp, energized, and independent well into your later years. In this video, we're going to talk about a specific fruit, one that's often praised, but for many older adults, can do more harm than good. And along the way, we'll uncover what really puts your brain at risk and how you can outsmart those risks starting today. Let's start with something you've probably had in your fridge at some point this week: grapes. Red grapes, green grapes, even raisins. They're sweet, they're easy to snack on, and they feel like a smart choice, especially when you're trying to avoid cookies or candy. But here's the thing. Grapes are incredibly high in something called fructose, a type of natural sugar. And while natural sugar sounds better than the processed kind, your body doesn't really care where it came from. Especially if you're over 60, your metabolism tends to slow down, your insulin sensitivity changes, and your blood vessels, especially the tiny ones in your brain, become more vulnerable. When you eat a handful of grapes or sip on some 100% grape juice, your blood sugar can spike faster than you think, and that spike can quietly damage the lining of your blood vessels. Now, over time, this can lead to something called endothelial dysfunction, which is a fancy way of saying your blood vessels stop working the way they should. And guess what? That's a major contributor to stroke. In fact, sudden spikes in blood sugar, especially when they happen regularly, can increase the thickness of your blood, raise your blood pressure, and even trigger clots in vulnerable individuals.
I'm not saying grapes are poison, but if you're having them at night, especially before bed, when your body is winding down and insulin response is at its weakest, that's where it gets risky. Your blood sugar stays elevated longer, your body stores more fat around the belly, inflammation kicks in, and while you sleep, your blood vessels are under stress. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but I thought fruit was good for me. And you're absolutely right to be confused. Not all fruits are created equal. Berries, for example, like blueberries or raspberries, are lower in sugar and packed with brain-boosting antioxidants. They support your memory, your mood, and your blood vessels. But high-sugar fruits, like grapes, bananas, or even watermelon, when eaten in large amounts or late at night, can do the opposite, especially when they're not balanced with fiber, protein, or healthy fats. And here's something else to think about. How are you pairing your fruits? If you're having a big bowl of fruit salad first thing in the morning, your blood sugar is going to hit the ceiling. But if you pair a few blueberries with a handful of walnuts or a slice of avocado toast, now you're giving your body something steady, something that fuels your brain without the crash. That brings me to something else that often flies under the radar: fruit juices. I've had patients tell me they start every morning with a glass of orange juice or apple juice. And while it feels like a healthy routine, it's actually one of the worst ways to start your day. A small glass of juice, just 8 ounces, can contain the sugar equivalent of 3 or 4 whole fruits, but none of the fiber. That means your body absorbs it fast. Too fast. And if your blood sugar shoots up first thing in the morning, it sets you up for energy crashes, mood dips, and, you guessed it, increased stroke risk later on.
Now, you might be wondering, if sugar is so dangerous, why do I crave it more now than I used to? That's a great question. As we age, our dopamine response to food changes. Dopamine is that feel-good chemical your brain releases when you eat something enjoyable. In younger years, it's strong. You eat a small treat, feel satisfied, and move on. But after 60, those dopamine signals get weaker, which means you might start eating more sugar just to get the same level of satisfaction. It's not a lack of willpower, it's biology. And that's why awareness is power. Once you understand what's really happening, you can make changes that help you feel better without relying on sugar to do the job. One of the most powerful changes? Start focusing on healthy fats. I know, for decades we were told to avoid fat, but now we know better. Your brain is made up of nearly 60% fat, and the right kinds of fat, like those found in walnuts, olive oil, avocados, and even wild-caught salmon, can actually protect your brain cells, reduce inflammation, and stabilize your energy throughout the day. A patient of mine, Barbara, she's 72, came to me tired all the time. She said she'd eat fruit for breakfast, crackers and a little cheese for lunch, and then whatever was easy for dinner. I don't feel like cooking, she told me, and I'm trying to eat light. But when we looked at her meals, they were high in carbs and low in the healthy fats her brain needed. Once she started adding a boiled egg in the morning, some avocado at lunch, and cooking dinner with olive oil, her energy started climbing. Within a couple weeks, she said, "I feel like myself again." That's what we want. Not a perfect diet, not strict rules, but smart swaps that make a real difference. And it's not just about the food you eat, it's also when you eat.
There's a natural rhythm your body follows, kind of like an internal clock, and eating late at night, especially sugary foods or fruits, can throw that rhythm completely off. When you eat close to bedtime, your body has to stay busy digesting instead of focusing on rest and repair. And if your blood sugar rises while you're asleep, that's when your arteries are most vulnerable. The inflammation caused during sleep doesn't get interrupted by movement or hydration like it would during the day. It just quietly builds. That's why I often tell people, try to finish your last meal at least 2 to 3 hours before bed. If you get hungry later, reach for something light and balanced, like a few almonds or a spoonful of plain Greek yogurt. It's not about starving yourself. It's about giving your brain and your blood vessels the break they need overnight. And here's something I think everyone over 60 should know. Hydration is just as important as what you eat. Dehydration thickens your blood. Thicker blood means more pressure on your arteries. More pressure means more risk for a rupture or a clot, especially in those tiny brain vessels. But many seniors I meet aren't drinking enough water. Sometimes it's because they don't feel thirsty. Other times it's because they want to avoid going to the bathroom too often, especially at night. I get it, but here's a little trick. Try drinking more water earlier in the day. Have a glass when you wake up, another mid-morning, and one before lunch. This gives your body the hydration it needs without loading up right before bed. And if plain water isn't appealing, add a slice of cucumber or a splash of lemon. It's refreshing and encourages you to sip more often. When your body is hydrated, your blood flows more smoothly. Your brain gets better oxygen. Your blood pressure improves, and you just feel better, more alert, more energized, and more steady on your feet. So, we've talked about the sneaky sugar in certain fruits, the importance of healthy fats, and how hydration supports your brain. These changes may seem small, but they add up in a powerful way. Because every good choice you make now isn't just about preventing a stroke, it's about feeling better today, tomorrow, and next year. It's about staying sharp, independent, and able to enjoy the people and things you love most. And trust me, it's never too late to make a change. I've seen people in their 80s turn things around. They start sleeping better, thinking clearer, and even feeling happier just from shifting a few daily habits.
Next, we'll look at how your lifestyle and movement patterns can either protect your brain or accidentally speed up decline. But first, take a moment and ask yourself, what small shift could I make today? Is it swapping out the grapes for blueberries? Adding a little healthy fat to breakfast? Drinking one more glass of water before lunch? Whatever it is, I promise, it matters. And that's really the heart of it. It's the little things that build up over time. Just like one sugary snack won't break you,
One good habit won't fix everything overnight. But these small shifts, done consistently, create a ripple effect. And when it comes to protecting your brain and avoiding stroke, consistency is your secret weapon. Now, let's talk about something that gets overlooked far too often: movement. Not intense workouts or long gym sessions, just everyday movement. Because the truth is, how you move, and how often you move, plays a huge role in keeping your brain sharp and your blood flowing the way it should. You see, your circulation is like a delivery system. It brings oxygen and nutrients to your brain and carries away waste. But when we sit too long, especially as we get older, that delivery system slows down. Blood flow to the brain decreases, toxins linger longer, and your energy starts to dip. Over time, that lack of movement can contribute to everything from brain fog to poor balance to, you guessed it, increased stroke risk. But here's the good news. You don't need to run marathons or lift heavy weights to keep your circulation healthy. Just standing up and stretching every hour, walking around the house after meals, or even doing gentle leg lifts while watching TV can work wonders. It's about staying active, not becoming an athlete.
One woman I worked with, Ellen, she's 68, used to spend most of her day reading or doing puzzles. Great for the mind, but her legs would swell, and she'd often feel dizzy when standing up. We added in 3 movement breaks each day, just 5 minutes at a time, marching in place, doing a few shoulder rolls, and walking a few laps around the living room. Within a week, the swelling went down, her energy improved, and more importantly, her blood pressure became more stable. Your body loves rhythm. It loves movement. Even just walking after dinner, something so simple, can lower your blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and improve sleep. That little walk does more than burn calories. It helps your body reset, helps your brain stay clear, and keeps those vital pathways open. But just as important as movement is rest. Not just lying down, but real, restorative sleep. Because if your brain doesn't get the time it needs to repair, clean out waste, and regulate hormones, your risk of stroke and cognitive decline starts creeping up. Unfortunately, many older adults struggle with sleep. Maybe you wake up several times a night. Maybe you have trouble falling asleep in the first place. Or maybe you wake up too early, still feeling tired. Whatever the case, your sleep deserves attention. One of the biggest culprits I've seen? Evening snacking, especially sugary snacks or fruits. Like we talked about earlier, eating too close to bedtime raises blood sugar, which disrupts melatonin, the hormone that helps you fall asleep. And without good sleep, your blood pressure can stay elevated. Your body doesn't have a chance to recover. Your brain doesn't get its nightly tune-up. To support better sleep, try having a small balanced dinner a few hours before bed. Keep the room cool and dark, and limit screen time, especially news or bright lights, an hour before sleep. Your brain needs calm to settle into rest, not stimulation.
Another tip that works wonders: magnesium. Many seniors are low in magnesium without even realizing it. It helps relax muscles, regulate heart rhythm, and support deep sleep. You can find it in foods like spinach, pumpkin seeds, almonds, or even a warm cup of magnesium-rich herbal tea in the evening. And while we're on the topic of rest and rhythm, don't forget about stress. Chronic stress is like a slow poison for your brain. It raises cortisol, increases inflammation, and tightens your blood vessels. Over time, this creates the perfect storm for stroke. And the worst part? Many people don't even realize they're living in a constant state of stress. They've gotten used to it. But your brain hasn't. It's reacting every day. That's why building in even a few minutes of relaxation can make a world of difference. Whether it's deep breathing, a quiet walk, prayer, stretching, or listening to calming music. Whatever brings your heart rate down and makes you feel grounded, do more of that. And don't underestimate the power of connection. Having meaningful conversations, laughter, even just sharing a cup of tea with a friend. It boosts your mood, lowers blood pressure, and supports overall brain health. You don't have to be surrounded by people all the time, but having someone to talk to, someone who sees you and hears you,
is a powerful kind of medicine. So here's where we are. We've looked at the hidden sugar in fruits like grapes and fruit juice, the power of healthy fats, the importance of hydration, the impact of movement, sleep, and even stress. Each of these things might seem small on their own, but together they form a protective shield around your brain, a lifestyle that doesn't just prevent stroke, but helps you feel clear, steady, and energized every day.
And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to change everything all at once. Start with one thing. Maybe today you swap out juice for water. Tomorrow, you go for a 5-minute walk after dinner. The next day, you cut back on nighttime snacks. These steps are gentle, they're doable, and they're exactly the kind of steps that make the biggest difference after 60. I've seen it time and time again. People who felt tired, forgetful, even afraid of what was ahead start to feel hopeful again. And that hope, it grows when you take action, when you know you're not powerless. You have more control than you think, and your body wants to heal. It just needs a little help. It just needs a little help, and you have the ability to give it that help, one choice at a time, one day at a time. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent and kind to yourself along the way. Because your brain, your heart, your entire body, none of it is giving up on you. It's waiting for you to support it, to nourish it, to believe that better is still possible, and it absolutely is. Now let's take a moment to bring it all together, not as a checklist, but as a gentle reminder of what matters most. That fruit you thought was helping, like grapes or fruit juice, can actually raise your blood sugar quickly, especially when eaten alone. And for a brain that's already more vulnerable to shifts in blood flow and pressure after 60, that quick spike and crash in sugar can do more harm than good. It doesn't mean you need to fear fruit, just be smart about it. Pair it with protein, eat it in moderation, favor lower sugar fruits like berries, and always listen to how your body feels afterward. If you feel foggy, tired, or unsteady, that's your brain speaking to you. Start tuning in. We talked about healthy fats, how your brain needs them to stay strong and clear. A little olive oil, some walnuts, avocado, or wild fish can do wonders for your focus, your mood, and even how well you sleep.
We explored how hydration isn't just about drinking water, it's about circulation. It's about preventing your blood from getting sluggish, especially during the hotter months or when you're more sedentary. And speaking of movement, remember that it doesn't have to be formal exercise. Just moving your body, stretching, walking, dancing in your kitchen, anything that keeps your blood flowing gently and regularly is a gift to your brain. We also touched on sleep and how what you eat and when can affect the quality of your rest. Late-night sugar, especially from fruits, might seem innocent, but it can wreak havoc on your blood vessels while you sleep, when your body should be healing. Small changes like eating earlier, having a calming evening routine, and maybe including a little magnesium-rich food can make your sleep deeper and more restorative. And then there's stress. Oh, how it creeps in. It can show up in the background, worrying about health, finances, the news, or even just the loneliness that sometimes settles in quietly. But you don't have to carry it all alone. You can let some of it go, even if just for a few minutes a day. Deep breathing, a good laugh, prayer, a warm bath, it all counts. Every moment of calm is medicine for your brain. So where does this leave us? It leaves us with a simple, powerful truth. You're not at the mercy of age. You're not destined for decline. Your brain, even now, has the ability to grow, to heal, to surprise you. Neuroplasticity, that's the fancy word for it, means your brain can form new connections, learn new things, and even reverse damage when given the right care. And it's never too late. I've seen people in their 70s, 80s, even 90s make changes and feel the benefits. One man I know, Harold, he's 85, used to think his forgetfulness was just part of getting old. But when he started making these small changes, cutting back on high-sugar snacks, walking each morning, drinking more water, his memory started coming back.
His doctor even lowered his blood pressure meds. But more than that, Harold started feeling like himself again, more clear, more confident, more alive.
That's what I want for you. Because at this stage of life, every day matters. Not just for avoiding stroke or memory loss, but for quality of life, for waking up with energy, for remembering the names and stories of the people you love, for feeling steady on your feet and strong in your mind, for living with joy, not fear. So take this as your gentle reminder, your loving nudge. You're still in control. The food you choose, the way you move, how you care for your stress and sleep, all of it adds up. All of it matters. And if you've been feeling overwhelmed or discouraged, let me just say this: you are not alone. There's no shame in learning something new. In fact, it's something to be proud of. It means you're growing. It means you're not giving up. And that kind of mindset, that's what keeps you young. If you found this helpful, I'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments. What habits have helped you feel more alert, more energized, or just a little more hopeful? Your experience might inspire someone else who really needs to hear it today. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click that like button. It helps this video reach more people who could benefit from it. Subscribe if you want more honest, empowering health advice made just for people like you. No fluff, no scare tactics, just real tools for a longer, better life. You deserve to feel strong. You deserve to feel clear. You deserve a life full of joy, purpose, and peace. And you have what it takes to make that happen. Here's to your brain, your heart, your health, and to living your best life at any age.